Hey, Geeky Pastimes here with a really quick video just looking at some of the really interesting things we've seen in Boneyard lately. We looked at all of this on stream, so if you want to check out my streams, sometimes I stream on YouTube, so if you hit the notification bell you'll get told when I go live. A lot of the time at the moment I'm streaming over on Twitch, which is just Geeky Pastimes on Twitch. Go over there, give me a follow, and you'll be told when I go live. So some of the things that I'm talking about in this video, particularly the first thing that we're going to be looking at, actually came from a YouTube user called Mark Alford, who during my stream started trying to give us directions to find some of these things. So the first thing, if you go to this plane that's got the kind of green tarp over it, at the end of it there's this keyboard. Now what I find really interesting about this is that all of the keys have really clear numbers, as if you're definitely meant to be able to tell which ones there are. There's also two types of keys. Some of them have a little key tag on, some of them don't. This sort of keyboard is used in places where you need to be able to get keys out to maybe open up buildings or vehicles or things like that. And the sign underneath it in Russian just kind of says, attention, make sure you sign the keys out before you take them. It says something about writing it down in a journal. So some people think that we need to find a journal, so then we'll be able to find where those missing keys are or who took them out maybe. I'm not so sure. I think it might just be making sure we're aware that people would have signed these keys out, that there's something important. Now in the rest of this building you can see there's a bunch of other stuff. There's like some explosives, there's some of these bags of food that come from the organisation WHP, who in the kind of story for Warzone came to give relief to Verdansk but then ended up getting attacked by the Russians. There's a load of different things. But yeah, we don't really know what to do with this so far. It's something that's kind of interesting. It definitely looks important, like those numbers definitely look important. And you can see here on a map exactly where it is if you want to go have a look at it yourself. We've tried entering codes kind of based on this into the Bunker 11 keypad, but we haven't had any luck so far, mostly because you can't enter any codes in at all. Now the other thing that I found that's quite interesting in Boneyard are these numbers. So these are kind of lot numbers. So if you're working in a scrapyard or anything like that, you obviously need to be able to point out where things are. So there's all of these numbers, they go up to 13, and you can see them on those tall towers all around the Boneyard. Now, the reason I think these are kind of interesting is because while all of the numbers there are represented, they're attached to these kind of lighting poles, which we can't do anything with yet. They have little red lights on top that are glowing. I don't know if there's any way to change that, or I don't know if at some point some of those are going to light up and others aren't. But it seems like quite a good way to give us a numerical code if maybe some of these are lit up and some of them aren't in the future. The other thing that's interesting is this power line. So this power line goes to this little hut that's completely locked up. I'm not sure if that door's used elsewhere, so I had to kill someone quickly. But it goes to this little hut, don't know what's in there. And then the power lines, you can follow them, they go all from these different connected bits. And I find this kind of interesting, because there's not that many power lines in Warzone. I don't know if it's something to do with the engine. But it goes to the 13 one, as you can see up there. And then it goes over to the 8 one. Now, it does look a little bit from this angle like it goes to the 9 one, which is the one you can see at the back there. But the power lines don't actually connect up to that one. And then if you follow the power cables all the way down to the end, they just go down to this gate right at the end and just sort of stop there. So I think this could be interesting. I think it could be possibly in the future used to give us numbers for something. It could be that we've got to look at the ones that are connected, and that could like give us the order so we know which order to put the numbers in. It could be something to do with the lights on. Is the hangar that you can see here when I'm dropping down. So this hangar has a drone in it, and the drone's obviously been scrapped. It's been destroyed somehow, or it crashed. And we don't have everything. We've only got the right-hand wing. We don't have the left-hand wing. We don't have all of the tail or anything like that. And like I said, it's going to be used for an intel mission a little bit later. But I thought it's kind of cool, if you haven't seen this already, that you can see it in like quite good detail, and it's the only one on the map. Now, some of the intel missions, if you've been following along from the very beginning of the intel missions, revolved around photos taken from a drone, and then it talks, I think, about the drone, something happening to it. So this could be the drone that we have the photos from that show the airport and the attack on the airport. Like, we don't know, that's kind of speculation, but I thought it's kind of interesting. There's also a couple of other files that I've seen that have little red arrows pointing towards bits of a kind of, almost like a manual for the drone, and some of the arrows point to bits of the drone that we don't have. So if anyone sees elsewhere on the map where there's some other parts of this drone, I'd be super interested to know. Please leave something in the comments. So that's about it for things that we've been looking at in the Boneyard. Just thought that might be something that some people would find interesting, maybe some people haven't seen before. I definitely hadn't seen the keys before Mark Alford said about them. I'd never noticed them before, and I think like the fact that there's two kind of numbering systems being used in Boneyard is something definitely to keep an eye on, because anytime the game has a way to show us a code that's in numbers could be really useful, considering just how many keypads we're going to end up having to open over the rest of this Easter egg, judging by the number of keypads that have been added to the map. The Bunker 11 one in particular, we need an 8-digit code. We've tried everything that we can possibly think of, and so far, like, absolutely nothing. But that doesn't mean it's not going to be active at some point in the next few weeks. So if you found anything else in Boneyard that you think's interesting, or there's another area of the map you'd like us to do one of these videos on, if you've enjoyed it, please let us know in the comments, and of course like and subscribe. If you want to see us checking out these things, we stream sometimes on YouTube, sometimes on Twitch. It's Geeky Pastimes at Twitch. Go check us out, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Goodbye.